Hey, I'm Kris, the author behind this story. What you're about to hear is an early version of the audiobook, one step before the final release. I'm still working on the full version, but it'll be available on Spotify when it's ready. I wanted to share this preview though, so you can experience how it's coming together. I hope you enjoy it.
Dreams of a Modern Oneironaut. This audiobook was written and independently produced by Kris Bautista. It is a work of fiction. Narration was generated using AI voice synthesis. Copyright 2025, Kris Bautista. All rights reserved. Paperback and ebook editions are available on Amazon. Prologue. The sky above the playground shimmered with surreal colors, as though the world itself knew something extraordinary was about to happen. I stood frozen, watching the bully tower over her. My crush. She was the kind of girl everyone adored, the center of attention even when she didn't try to be. Tears streamed down her face as she cried, her voice shaking with fear.
"Let me go,"
she shouted, her hands clawing at the bully's iron grip. Her words seemed to echo, desperate and sharp, against the surreal stillness of the dream. Before I could react, he turned his fiery glare toward the teachers, who stood helplessly nearby. One teacher stepped forward, his voice firm.
"Stop this, right now! This behavior is unacceptable. Let her go, and we can talk this out. You don't have to do this."
The bully sneered, ignoring the plea, and with a flick of his hand, an invisible force froze the teachers in place like statues, with mouths open mid-yell and their bodies unnaturally still. Lifting chunks of the playground into the air with an unseen power, he declared,
"You will marry me."
But this wasn't the ordinary schoolyard of my memories. And I wasn't an ordinary second grader anymore. Neither was Max, an ordinary dog, my best friend standing at my side. He growled as he fixed his eyes on the bully, ready to protect me at all costs. "Stay back, Max," I whispered, stepping forward alone. Max let out a low whine, his glowing eyes flicking between me and the bully, the soft sheen of his pure white fur catching the surreal light. But he obeyed, staying rooted in place. "Leave her alone," I shouted, my voice cracking through the tension. The ground beneath my feet trembled as my power surged. He grinned and hurled a piece of the swing set at me. Acting on instinct, I raised my hand, summoning a barrier of energy that shattered the projectile into glowing fragments. What followed was chaos. It wasn't just a fight, it was a war waged across the school, each moment more destructive than the last. He charged first, moving like a force of nature. I dodged left, the air crackling with heat as his fist missed my face by inches. Around us, my classmates screamed in terror, scattering in all directions. The playground became a swirling scene of panic, with shouts and cries blending into the surreal battlefield. Waves of energy rippled through the playground, splitting the ground beneath us into jagged crevices. The swing set groaned as it transformed into animated chains under the bully's control, their metallic lengths whipping toward me with lightning speed. I ducked and rolled, summoning a concentrated blast of light to sever the chains in midair. Frustrated, he slammed his fist into the ground. The jungle gym, caught in the shockwave, crumbled into a heap of twisted metal.
"You can't stop me. I'm the one she will marry,"
he roared. "You're not the boss of her," I shouted back. I charged forward with every ounce of fury I could muster. The bully barely had time to react before my glowing fist connected with his chest, the force of the impact sending him flying through the school building. He crashed through walls, shattering lockers and windows as the structure groaned under the force. The fight raged on inside. The bully ripped lockers from their mounts, the metal groaning as it twisted into jagged shards that flew through the air like deadly projectiles. I barely managed to block them with a shimmering shield of light, but each strike drained my strength. His fiery aura grew more intense and his attacks relentless. Finally, one hit landed squarely on my chest, sending me sprawling to the ground, gasping for air. My vision blurred as pain racked my body. Just as he raised a massive piece of debris to finish me off, a fierce growl split the air. Max charged in, his glowing white fur a blur of motion. As he leapt at the bully with all his strength, he sank his teeth into his arm, forcing him to drop the debris. He roared in pain, flailing wildly as Max held on, refusing to let go despite the bully's attempts to shake him off. "Good boy, Max," I shouted, pushing myself to my feet. The sight of him fighting so valiantly reignited something in me. I gathered my energy, channeling it into a single, powerful beam of light that struck the bully, sending him staggering backward. Max released his grip and landed gracefully beside me, his sides heaving, but his spirit undiminished. The pristine white of his coat streaked with dirt and glowing faintly. He looked up at me, his eyes filled with a spark of mischief, as if to say, "We've got this." The bully, now desperate and screaming with fury, hurled desks and chairs like missiles. Each projectile smashed against my hastily constructed shields of light. Max zigzagged through the chaos, using his agility to dodge flying furniture. With a leap, he clawed through the bully's defenses, leaving a trail of glowing scratches on his fiery form. His screams grew louder, a mix of anger and pain reverberating through the collapsing walls. Now, towering with raw energy, the bully roared in frustration and swung a fiery fist at me. The impact sent me flying through the air, crashing into the ground with enough force to leave a crater. I groaned as I stood up, dusting off the debris. His aura burned brighter than ever, a blinding red flame that pulsed with rage.
This ends now,
he shouted. Max growled low in his throat and lunged forward before I could stop him. The bully turned on him with ferocious speed, landing a devastating blow that sent Max hurtling into a pile of debris. A pained yelp escaped him as he hit the ground, his once pristine white fur now streaked with blood and dirt. For a terrifying moment, Max didn't move. My chest tightened in panic, but then he stirred, slowly pushing himself up despite the tremble in his legs and the obvious pain in his eye. Even battered and bloodied, Max limped forward to stand by my side. "Max, now!" I yelled, channeling every ounce of energy I had into a single massive beam of light. Max roared, leaping into the air with a thunderous, energy-infused strike. Our combined attacks collided with the bullies, creating a shockwave that rippled through the dream world, obliterating everything in its wake. The playground lay in ruins. The bully was defeated and his fiery aura reduced to embers. Max and I stood victorious, but we bore the marks of the battle. I clutched my broken arm, pain radiating with every movement, while Max limped beside me, his once proud stride reduced to careful, pained steps. The echoes of our fight still rang in the surreal quiet, a reminder of the destruction we had wrought and the price we had paid. When the dust settled, I saw her, my crush. She was surrounded by classmates and fans, all checking if she was hurt. She looked around, scanning the crowd, searching for the one who had saved her. Shyness overwhelmed me and I couldn't muster the courage to face her. I began to blend into the crowd. Max barked with disapproval. Without a word, I flew to the top of a nearby building, watching the aftermath of our fight from above. The destruction was immense, the dreamscape eerily quiet now. And then it hit me. For the first time, I realized that this wasn't real. I was dreaming, and I knew it. I counted my fingers. 7? Whoa, I muttered, my voice echoing strangely in the quiet. I'm dreaming. My eyes widened with excitement. I can do anything I want. I spun around, taking in the surreal landscape. What startled me more was that my powers hadn't faded. They had grown stronger. The energy coursing through me felt deliberate now, something I could control. I wasn't just reacting anymore, I was wielding it. I could fly, not clumsily, but with precision. And as I hovered above the destruction, it wasn't fear or confusion that filled me. It was the exhilarating promise of what else I might discover in this boundless world. Chapter 1. The Road to Letting Go. How do you save someone who trusts you even when it means taking away the last bit of comfort they have left? The question echoed in my mind as I drove. Max's breaths came in short, ragged puffs, his sides heaving with effort, each one a reminder of time slipping away. The road ahead stretched endlessly. In the back seat, Jezza sat beside Max, stroking his fur with slow, deliberate movements.
You're such a good boy, Max. The best boy.
I gripped the steering wheel tighter, the rough leather grounding me. I couldn't look back. If I glanced in the mirror, I knew I'd lose it. He's still eating, I said, more to myself than to my wife. He ate this morning, as if eating meant he could get stronger, as if it wasn't time yet. Jezza's gaze met mine, soft but resolute. She reached over and rested her hand on my arm.
And he couldn't stand afterward.
She said, her voice low but firm.
Can't even walk without help, Kris.
I stayed silent. Jezza sighed, her hand never leaving Max's fur.
This is the right thing to do.
She murmured.
He's tired, and he's in pain. You know that.
Maybe we should wait a few more days, I managed, though I could hear how weak it sounded.
You've already waited, Kris.
Her voice cracked, but she didn't cry. Not yet.
You know what the vet said.
Max stirred, letting out a guttural noise as his body convulsed. I glanced back just as Jezia pulled her hand away. Max vomited, yellow bile staining the seat, the sour, acrid smell filling the car.
Oh, Max.
Jezza whispered, tears brimming as she wiped his muzzle with a tissue. It's okay, buddy, I said, forcing my voice steady. It's okay. Just relax. Jezza looked at me with her tearful eyes.
He's telling us he's ready, Kris.
I swallowed hard as the lump in my throat blocked any response. I stared at the road that seemed impossibly long and yet all too short at the same time. The vet's office stood in a small brick plaza, its faded sign blending into the overcast sky. Parking felt like sealing his fate. Each step toward the door felt like dragging through mud. Every movement heavy with the weight of what we were about to do. Inside, it smelled faintly of antiseptic and something warmer, like fur that had been there too long. The fluorescent lighting cast a harsh glow, making the space feel sterile and cold, while the faint hum of a ceiling fan added to the atmosphere. The receptionist looked up, her smile practiced, and her eyes looked tired. A couple sitting nearby glanced over at us, their faces softening with empathy as they noticed Max and our tearful expressions. As we guided Max through the door, he stumbled slightly, his paw catching on the edge of the rug. In his unsteady movement, he accidentally bumped into the smaller, younger dog sitting at the elderly couple's feet, causing the puppy to yelp in surprise. "Oh, I'm so sorry," I said quickly, bending down to steady Max and check on the puppy. The couple shook their heads gently, smiling with understanding as they hugged their little dog protectively.
It's okay.
The woman said softly, stroking the puppy's fur. Her husband nodded, his gaze lingering on Max with a knowing sadness. There was an unspoken recognition in their eyes, as if they understood the inevitable cycle of life shared with our cherished companions. The vet herself was small, her movements precise, her eyes carrying the weight of too many goodbyes.
This way,
She said, gesturing toward a small room. It was simple, just a thick blanket on the floor and a box of tissues on a table. The pale green walls seemed muted, almost apologetic.
we'll start with a sedative.
The vet explained softly.
This will help him relax.
Max panted, his tongue lolling as his tail thumped faintly against the blanket. For a fleeting moment, I let myself believe he was okay, that we had more time. He looked like himself, my Max, joyful and trusting, living every moment as a gift. Then Geza's sob broke through. She cradled Max's face, her tears spilling freely.
I love you, Max. You're such a good boy. The best boy.
Her breaking voice unraveled me. Tears streamed down my face as I pressed my hand against Max's side, holding on to his warmth. "You've been my best friend, buddy," I choked out. "I don't know what I'll do without you." Max's eyes moved between us, his brow furrowing. He let out a soft whine, nuzzling Jez's hand as if he was the one comforting her. The vet knelt beside him, her hand resting lightly on his fur.
I want to explain something. After the injection, his body may have spasms. It's normal, just the muscles releasing.
Jez nodded, her trembling hands stroking Max's ears.
Okay. We're ready.
But I wasn't. I'd never be. The sedative worked quickly, Max's body going limp, his eyes half closing, his tail wagged once faintly, and I clung to that movement, the last sign of his spirit still here with us. The vet moved deliberately, the second syringe in her hand, the one that would stop his heart. My chest tightened, every instinct screaming to stop her, but I didn't. I couldn't. My hand twitched, choking on the impossible decision I wasn't ready to make. Her gaze hardened just slightly, as though she sensed the fracture in my resolve. Without hesitation, she moved swiftly, sliding the needle into place with a precision that was almost cruel in its efficiency. Max's breathing slowed, then stopped. And just like that, he was gone. It was over before my heart could catch up to my thoughts. The room fell silent. The absence of his panting and the soft thump of his tail made the quiet almost unbearable. And it happened. His leg twitched, and his paw scraped against the blanket. Geza gasped, clutching my arm. My heart stopped as I stared, hoping for some sign of life. But his eyes stayed closed. His breath didn't return.
It's normal,
The vet said quietly.
just his muscles.
Normal. Nothing about it felt normal. Jeza buried her face in my shoulder, her sobs breaking free. I sat frozen, my hand still on Max's side, feeling the last warmth leave him. What hurt most wasn't just the loss, it was the doubt. Loss is sharp, tangible, something you can name. Doubt seeps into the cracks, whispering questions you can't answer. Did Max understand why we did this? Could he forgive us? Did he know how much we loved him? I clung to his last wag, the way he nuzzled Jez's hand, hoping it was his way of saying thank you, of giving us permission. But what if it wasn't? What if we stole what little time he had left? Doubt twists the moments you thought were certain. Even in the midst of it, I hoped Max felt our love in his last moments, that he wasn't scared. I hoped he understood.